We decided to make a quick stop at Chimney Rock National Monument. Check it out. So guys, I lied in my last video. I said the next stop was going to be Great Sand Dunes National Park. But when we were driving, we saw a sign to Chimney Rock National Monument. And guys, I learned something new. Not every national monument is in the Park Service. This one is managed by the Forest Service. So let's go take a look. Oh, and by the way, I'm Kevin with Kemp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. We're waiting on the shuttle to take us to the top. Once we get up there, stay tuned for some cool stuff. All right, guys, so we're at the top parking lot. You can drive yourself, but for us, since we were towing a trailer, we couldn't come up here. Parking lot isn't big enough. So we got to ride the shuttle. What a ride. That guy drove that van like he stole it. It was a lot of fun. It's a washboard road, so it's pretty bumpy. And we're doing some drifting. Weren't setting any winning times in World Rally, but still a good time. All right, we're gonna hit the trail and go see some Pueblo ruins. Let's go. As you can see, not too far from the parking lot, we have our first structure. I'm not exactly sure what it is, so leave it to Barb to pick up a brochure. This is the Ridge House. And I guess the stone foundation is all that's left. So the trail we're on is a third of a mile up and a third of the mile back. And it takes us up to Chimney Rock. Views on the trail are beautiful, but it is pretty high up. So you're gonna wanna keep that in mind. If hiking at elevation is not for you due to health reasons, we recommend that you don't do it. Here's where the trail gets fun. Whew. Oh yeah. All right, and there's a view of the trail. Plane's making his way up. There's the parking lot. And then we came from way down there. Awesome. So here is what's left of the guardhouse, which isn't much, just a little bit. But as I turn the camera around, we're going to be heading up towards, I think it's called the Great House, right, Barb?
Great House, Pueblo.
The Great House, and it's up there. Let's go take a look. All right, guys, here it is. And I think Barb read something that they carried every rock up the hill to build this. I can't imagine that. I can only imagine carrying me up the hill. Whew. And there we are, guys, the payoff, Chimney Rock. That's awesome. All right, guys, here it is. This park was well staffed with people who knew how to explain what the people were looking at. It was really nice to have knowledgeable people to explain the purposes of the different rooms and the construction process and really kind of what the Pueblo people were all about and why they built what they built. It was really, really helpful in our understanding when we were visiting this site.
Right over here, and she found the most beautiful obsidian knife right over there. So, yeah, we know they use obsidian. So the aspect valued it a lot. They traded for it, and they traced it. So they traced the obsidian of the hole drilled in it. Yeah, and I asked one of the archaeologists, I showed it to him, and he said Pacific Coast.
All right, guys, made it to the top. Chimney Rock. Beautiful. So as we head down, I just wanted to let you know, one of the rangers was up here and he was talking about that great house, and it was basically for the high priests, and they used it for astronomy. They were very focused on the sky. So really, really neat. Parts of it were 2 stories high, and just unbelievable piece of architecture that's 1,000 years old. And I wish I could imagine what it was like when it was, complete, whole. But it's pretty awesome. All right, guys, we're on our way down. Let's go see what else we can see. So we passed them on the way up, but the common folks lived in pit houses, and there are some remnants of pit houses left. So when I get to one, I'll turn the camera around and show you what it looks like. And actually, here it is. So now it looks like a hole in the ground, but at one point in time, it was a house for anywhere between 3 to 5 people. Here's another look at the remnants of a pit house. So the Pueblo would farm in the valleys, and they grew corn, beans, and squash. And then they would come up to this ridge to look at the stars and the sky. I can't imagine just hiking up here all the time, and I certainly can't imagine carrying all the rocks to build those structures. Incredible people. It's a shame we don't know more about them than we do. And it's fascinating that what we know is from archaeological digs and those kinds of things. So obviously, and some interpretation and some assumptions. Really, really cool. I love it when history and natural history collide in one place. And that's why national parks and national monuments and state parks are always places that you should go or consider going. You're always going to learn something new. Really cool. Okay, guys, so that was the Great House Trail. We're going to hit the Mesa Village Trail, which is a short little paved trail. It's going to take us by a pit house and a great Kiva. So let's go check that out. So as you can see, this trail is paved, and I think they said it's a 1/4 mile. So very easy, ADA accessible. It's not quite the climb of the Great House Trail, which was a pretty good climb. And again, we're up at elevation, so it makes a difference, especially for this guy who lives at sea level all the time. But let's go see what we can see. So here's a look at what's left of the Great Kiva. And the sign says, although no one knows for certain how kivas were used 1,000 years ago, Chimney Rock's Great Kiva was probably a community center. It was large enough to host the village's men, women, and children for community gatherings and possibly work. It may also have served as a center for religious ceremonies, which were probably the domain of only men. The Great Kiva, built between approximately AD 994 and AD 1084, is the largest excavated single-room structure on the Upper Mesa. A Great Kiva is one greater than 35 feet in diameter. The Chimney Rock Great Kiva is 44 feet across. Most kivas are built underground, but here on the mesa, the bedrock is near the surface, thus requiring this kiva to be built above ground. Archaeologists have not been able to determine if there was a roof on the Great Kiva. Pretty cool. Here's a look at another pit house. And it says, Contrary to what its name implies, this pit house was not in a pit. It was built on surface bedrock, unlike most pit houses that are partially or completely dug into the ground. The lower walls were made of stone and mud mortar, while the upper walls used upright poles or sticks covered and chinked with mud. The roof was supported by log posts and covered with smaller poles, sticks, and mud. The entryway was a hole through the roof that allowed both access and smoke ventilation. On the south wall was a ventilation tunnel and shaft for incoming fresh air. The residents would have placed a flat upright stone in front of this opening to deflect air from going directly across the fire pit in the center of the house. So this would have been an incredibly tough place to live. The closest water source is the Piedra River, which is like 3.5 miles down the hill. They probably also caught water flowing off the mountains, but even then, they didn't have much of a way to store it, so they were constantly gathering water. This would have been a really, really hard place to live, which is probably why they eventually moved on. All right, guys, well, that was a worthwhile detour on our way to Great Sand Dunes National Park. If you have any opportunity to get over to Chimney Rock National Monument, I highly recommend it. The National Forest Service does a great job of preserving the heritage of the Pueblo people as well as maintaining this area. So it is just beautiful. Love the hikes. And now it's time to get back on the road and get over to Zapata Falls, which is our campground for tonight. So we're going to get on the road. But guys, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and hit that little bell icon that notifies you when we release new videos. Guys, Camp Outside exists to help moms and dads get their kids outside, camping, hiking, fishing, learning about nature, and developing a conservation ethic. Want to help you get you and your kids outside. So if you have any questions about Chimney Rocks, drop some in the comments below. Or if you've been here before, guys, let me know what you thought of it. You can also connect with us on other social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X, or our website at campoutside.com. Guys, we have a whole lot more as we're on our 2024 summer trip that takes us from our house in Tampa, Florida, all the way out to the Olympic Peninsula and back. So we are on our way home. So we are almost done with our 6-week trip, but we still have more content to come, namely Zapata Falls and Great Sand Dunes National Park, and who knows what else we might find, something like this. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time.